I'm back at it again, not only with Poppy Playtime theories, but I have two hot takes for us today. One, the prototype is the good guy. And two, what if the children are actually still alive? At least the ones who weren't turned into bigger body experiments or toys around the factory. Before I talk about the potential of orphans still being alive, let's talk about the relationship and the dynamic of Poppy herself and the prototype. From the very first time I ever played Poppy Playtime, I have not trusted Poppy. Poppy has been very suspicious, very mysterious, and not very forthright with the information she provides us. But here are the things we do know about Poppy. Poppy seemed to be one of the very first successful experiments, if not the first, which is what all the scientists were trying to replicate when they started the Bigger Bodies initiative. Another fact about Poppy is that she is hell-bent on getting revenge, or at least she acts that way. From her point of view, she witnessed the Hour of Joy and she was traumatized, which was actually animated in CG5's new Poppy Playtime song that Mob Entertainment released a version of on their channel. We see a lot of interesting lore spread throughout this music video, and several scenes of Poppy witnessing what we can only assume to be the Hour of Joy. In the CG5 music video, Poppy is shown in a state of pure fear, terror, and absolute shock. As the song progresses, she's shown hyperventilating. So with Poppy's perception of the Hour of Joy being senseless slaughter, she very much portrays as someone with revenge. But why is she wanting to seek revenge 10 years later, after the Hour of Joy happened? She sees our main character as an opportunity to do her dirty deeds. I mean, honestly, she's only 2 feet tall. What can she do by herself? She doesn't have the ability to do anything physically, but she has the brain to manipulate us into continuing and following her because honestly, our character has no other choice. There's not really a way for us to escape the factory when all of our routes back towards the entrance where we came from are either threatened by the prototype or have been burned or crashed down from our boss battles with Mommy Longlegs, the train crash, etc. So here we are, our main character stuck as Poppy's angel, as Dog Day put it himself in Chapter 3. But how does any of this make Poppy evil? The only evil things that she's shown us so far is lying to us and deceiving us and crashing our train so we could go further to helping her. She's evil because she wants to seek revenge on the prototype and have us do her dirty work. She hasn't proven any other way of being evil besides not being forthright with a lot of her information and just being very mysterious, like I said earlier. So how does this make Poppy the bad guy and the prototype the good guy? Well, to make long story short, Poppy is on the employee's side, and the prototype is on the experiments, aka the orphan side. If the prototype was really made from Elliot Ludwig was perceived and known for taking care of the orphans and loving them. At least that's what he showed to all his employees and the general public, that he loved orphans and wanted to do everything he could to make their lives better. So is it as simple as Poppy wants revenge on the prototype for killing everyone who made her who she is? For giving her a mortal life? The prototype hated what was happening to him and hated to see what was happening to all the orphans as well. How they were all being tested on, treated, and tortured. So the prototype killed everyone in the Hour of Joy to prevent it from happening any further, any longer. He had to kill the innocent employees as well because he couldn't let it get out of the factory. Because just for an example, what if a government agency came in, found all these experimentations, and continued doing something along the lines of the Bigger Body Initiative, or something even worse, continuing the torture of this underground orphan testing facility? So if you look at it that way, the prototype was ending this senseless slaughter by causing more senseless slaughter in Poppy's eyes. So prototype was on the side of the orphans, Poppy was on the side of the employees. Good versus evil, you could say. They both had their own reasons, right? They're not purely evil in their own sense, or purely good. But if we continue along the storyline of the prototype being good, there's several examples in the actual gameplay that provide this evidence as well. I mean, if you honestly think about it, it didn't really seem that Huggy Wuggy or Catnap really saw our character as a threat until our main character kept persisting to go further into the factory. Huggy Wuggy didn't chase us until the very end of the game, and you could argue that, yeah, that's when we released him. Well, no, he could have taken care of us as soon as he saw us. Same thing with Catnap. He teased us and even gave us the chance to leave the factory, but decided not to as soon as we were going towards the left side of the gas production zone, which is supposedly where the employees' bodies were taken. But why would Catnap decide to attack then? Is the prototype protecting the children? More on to that later. There are obviously several chances where the prototype could have just ended us. We see him drag away Mommy Longlegs to probably add her to his body that he's making for himself, and then mercilessly kill Catnap, whether it be to put him out of his misery or because Catnap failed him. Regardless, we know that the prototype is capable and has had several opportunities to kill us. I think that the prototype either needs our main character for something, or the prototype could be protecting the children. Before I continue with the whereabouts of the orphans, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with any future theories I do and all the Let's Plays that I do here on the channel. They're pretty funny. Anyway, back to it. Now I'm sure you're saying there are no way the orphans are alive. You saw the state of Home Sweet Home in the play place. There was blood everywhere. How would the children be alive after the Hour of Joy and after 10 years? I'm with you, I agree with you, I get it. I'm very cautious of this theory, but we have to entertain it. And what if there were survivors? What if there were children that survived the Hour of Joy? Let's think about the Hour of Joy VHS tape that Poppy showed us at the end of Chapter 3. I genuinely think we only saw an edited or condensed portion of what actually happened on August 8th, 1995. Now, to explain who would edit these tapes and leave these tapes all over the factory for us might be more on an Ollie side of things, but we're not talking about him in this episode. I feel like our character has been fed selected information to push us to keep continuing towards Poppy's side and helping Poppy throughout the games. But think about the title of the game, Poppy Playtime. We are her angel. Or we could be considered her own toy. Poppy's playtime, Poppy's plaything, right? We're doing her dirty work. But back to the tape. Let's address what we did not see on the Hour of Joy tape. The orphan. We did not see the orphans. Where were they during the Hour of Joy? If, of course, they weren't being senselessly slaughtered like the employees. In Miss Delight's VHS tape of her remembering the conversation she had with Catnap, she asked if the children were in the same place as the employees. Catnap tells her no, they are not, and then confirms that the children are indeed safe. So they're alive? Let's bring it back further to the Smiling Critters VHS tape that helped promote the release of Chapter 3. At the beginning of this tape, we see the clock land on 10:06, which could represent Experiment 1006. We also see the Smiling Critters are huddled together and talk about a storm outside. I think that the Smiling Critters represent the orphans during the Hour of Joy. The storm is actually the screams that they're hearing outside of Home Sweet Home. Through Chapter 3, we see a variety of clocks throughout Playtime that are all paused on a few minutes after 10 o'clock. I think that this is when the Hour of Joy took place, which relates back to the clock we see during the Smiling Critters VHS tape. After the critters, aka the children, in this VHS tape talk about the storm, Catnap comes in and they beg Catnap to put them all to sleep. I think this is what happened to the orphans. The children did not like what they were starting to hear, and Catnap used his red gas to put the children to sleep and transport them somewhere safe. It was right in front of us before the game even came out, which also makes this VHS tape that much more dark and terrifying. Now, if the children were actually alive during all this time, where would they be hidden all this time? How would they be alive? Well, there are several theories and ways you could go, but maybe that's why the bigger bodies attacked us. They were seeing that our main character was getting closer and closer to where the prototype was and hiding the children. In Chapter 3, we did get that poster revealing that there is a giant park dedicated to the Poppy Playtime Corporation, and maybe that is where the children were hidden if this huge theme park is somehow underground or within the factory somewhere. I feel like in Chapter 4, we're going down to the labs where all the toys and orphans were experimented on and where the prototype may have been kept in his own prison cell for a long time. But there are several questions that arise with if these orphans are still alive. That would make each orphan age about 10 years. So how are they surviving in this place where there seems to be no food or water? Well, they could be surviving off the corpses of the humans over all this time if the bigger body characters did not eat all of them. The deeper we go into Playtime Co. Factory, the more likely we are to discovering the truths not only about the prototype and Poppy, but probably the whereabouts of the orphans, if they're alive or not. But what do you think? Do you think the orphans are still alive? And do you think that the prototype is actually good? doing all this, including the Hour of Joy, just to protect the orphans or at least prevent it from happening to anyone else in the future? Let me know down below in the comments. And as always, you can call me Phoebe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!